April 2nd, 2011. What were you guys doing then when India lifted the second World Cup at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai? I'll tell you what I was doing 12 years back. I was at the Wankhede covering India's triumph over Sri Lanka in that World Cup final. Boy, what a day that was. You know, every time I think back of that Saturday afternoon in Mumbai, it just gives me goosebumps. Of course, we had to make an early start for the stadium. I stayed in this hotel and it was literally walking distance up to the Wankhede Stadium, and boy, you could see Indian flags all around you. Of course, happening in India, Indian fans. There was a fair representation for Sri Lanka as well, Sri Lankan jerseys, Sri Lankan fans. But if you've seen Sri Lankan cricketers, if you've interacted with Sri Lankan fans, they're among the most affable lot in the world. So it was a pretty good camaraderie. But for me, a young journalist starting his career at that point, just getting the feel, the vibe of that historic, momentous match was something else. You know, the security, nobody complained really. Getting into the ground was rather difficult, and you wouldn't complain because you knew the who's who of the country were going to attend that game. And you know, a lot of that is old story now. The toss taking place twice. The captains have explained why that happened. MS Dhoni and Kumar Sangakkara, the Sri Lankan captains, and of course Sri Lanka batted. That magnificent 100 from Mahela Jayawardene, that brilliant opening burst from Zaheer Khan and Srishant, some top-class Indian fielding, and Jayawardene of course got some support from Sangakkara and some lower order hitting from Nuwan Kulasekara and Thisar Pereira that sort of set the game up, and that was a record chase because nobody had chased that many, 270 or no team had chased that many to win the World Cup. It was gripping. It was something else to be part of that. You know, 12 years back, even as I narrate the evening from the 2nd of April 2011, I can still feel goosebumps because of the entire furor that had taken place 4 years back when India were knocked out from the group stages of the 2007 World Cup. Obviously, you go back further down the line in 2003, India had done brilliantly to reach the final of the 2003 World Cup, but lost to Australia in a one-sided final. That was disappointing as well. And for a lot of people of our generation, we had only heard stories of the 1983 World Cup, Kapil Dev lifting the trophy at the Lord's balcony, that famous picture now. So we had all grown up hearing stories, reading articles, watching old video clips. But to see that unfolding in front of your eyes is something that Indians of this generation will never forget. And I was lucky to be part of that coverage group where, you know, I took it all in the stadium, and that partnership where MS Dhoni walked in surprisingly ahead of Yuvraj Singh. I remember I was in the press box getting dinner, and suddenly I heard the stadium announcer taking Mahendra Singh Dhoni's name, and I was a little taken aback. Yuvraj Singh was in fantastic form, scored some crucial runs throughout the World Cup, and here comes MS Dhoni. By the way, remember, MS Dhoni did not have the best of time with the bat in that World Cup, but as a lot of you know what happened later on, MS Dhoni has gone on to a lot of those stakeholders in the dressing room have gone on to narrate what exactly happened, and MS Dhoni wanted to go out and bat to counter that Mutaya Mullidharan threat. Of course, they were teammates at Chennai Super Kings. So all of that, whatever was unfolding, Virendra Sehwag has often said that Tendulkar asked him to stay put next to him and even didn't allow him to go for some washroom break. So yes, and the scenes. I was also there alongside the presentation podium. Tendulkar was emotional. A lot of these Indian cricketers, they were overwhelmed, and that whole feel at the Wankhede Stadium, you know, where fans were singing Vande Mataram, and then when he walked out on Marine Drive, that sensation will stay with me forever, and I'm sure it will stay with all of you forever. For today commemorates 12 years of India's World Cup triumph, second World Cup triumph at the Wankhede Stadium on April 2nd, 2011. Thank you so much for watching. This was Rajeshri Gupta bringing this to you for India Today YouTube.